to go. Oh yeah. I want to know which way Nigeria is headed to.
Yes, a good morning to you. Almond 94.3 FM is the station. And I say Baraka Jumba to you, our Muslim faithfuls, and to the boys and girls out there this Friday morning, the 28th day of June, year 2024. I say, thank God, it's Friday. Yes, it's another Friday, and of course, it's the 28th day of the month. And for me, personally, that marks the end of the first half. Yes, by Monday, it will be first, and it is the end of the first half of year 2024. Of course, I keep talking about having a plan. What has happened to your plan if you had one for year 2024? The things that has happened has upset my plans. Well, of course, you can also readjust your plans accordingly. And as I call it, reload and relaunch. Sit down these last few days of this month, reappraise, evaluate, honestly, critically evaluate your plans. And the hallmarks of a plan is deliverables. It must have clearly defined deliverables, and those deliverables must be timelined. Another thing is that you must codify your plans. My plan is in my head. Yes, it can be in your head, but the final details, can you have it in your head? I know that anything that occurs that strikes you in your mind, if you don't put it down in black and white, and when I say black and white, of course, you can put stuff on our devices now. You will never, you try it, you will never recall it in the original form it was given to you. So that is why it's so important to put these things down. So it's time to reload and relaunch. TikTok, they say, says the time. So, Almond 94.3 FM is the station. And of course, the show is Almond Headliners this Friday morning. Of course, it is the last edition of Almond Headliners for the month. Live in the studio with me is Mr. Badejoko Adesunbo. A good morning to you, Mr. Badejoko.
Good morning, our listeners. Baraka Juma to our Muslim faithfuls, and a happy weekend, everyone.
Yes, of course, our mandate is to take headlines from newspapers across the Nigerian landscape, and of course, even possibly from beyond the Nigerian landscape. Oh, did you follow the American presidential debate?
I missed it.
The very first word. Of course, you can always pick it up on the news platforms. Where do we start this morning? The Guardian, Leadership, Punch, The Nation, Vanguard, Tribune, This Day, of course, Daily Trust. Let's start with the Leadership newspaper today. An interesting scenario here. It says National Assembly extends 2023 budget implementation to December 31. It was first of all extended to March and then to June. And now that means two budgets, 2023 budget and 2024 budget, will be running concurrently. What does that imply? Let's free will this morning. What does that imply, Mr. Badejoko?
Well, members of the National Assembly will be in the best position to tell us, because you said that would be two budgets. It's actually, they are proposing a third one, a supplementary 2024 budget.
It's going to be incorporated into 2024.
And I remember we had two supplementary 2023 budgets.
Yeah.
So it means that the government do not know. I wouldn't want to use the word that we use in Jonathan days.
Clueless.
That is what it appears to be. Once you are not able to implement a budget, you retire whatever funds you
and transfer,
roll it over. And if you are going by environment, let it be stated, not that you are extending implementation. That means you want to spend must you spend every money you have budgeted for? And you keep complaining there is no money. And
what is actually the performance level of this budget? We are not having that at the national level. Nobody is evaluating the performance level of our budget.
Because the psyche of the people have been so messed up with.
Oh, we don't even have
with
statistics.
weaponized poverty. So what we think about is how to
Stay alive.
yes. So and they know because it's a deliberate move from their own hand. That is why they know we will not follow these things. Even those NGOs and corporate bodies that do the statistics for us, we still don't follow their own platforms too, like Budget and other platforms. We don't follow. So when you look at all of this,
People are not informed.
they are not informed. And
Why?
it's not that the information is not out there, but because they've been preoccupied, they've been given other assignments. And
Of
course,
staying
all this,
alive.
all these
Of not-
sensational
of-
items too that overwhelms news content like that are even more popular. So that-
Does it mean Nigerians are not particularly serious?
It's not that we're not serious.
We see people, social trivia stuff all over the social media, and people are millions and millions are engaged.
You know, people go to social media mostly, especially when they go after those trivia stuff, just to avoid overthinking so that they will not fall into depression. If they don't do that, the number of people that would have fallen into this
committed suicide,
would have been
jumping.
Would have been so alarming. Even rich people are committing suicide. Remember
The guy, Nkonga guy.
jumped from his balcony, and this is supposed to be a billionaire. So when you look at that, now imagine what the ordinary people will be having in on their own minds.
The other day, Deputy Commissioner of Police hanged himself.
And the other one slumped while trying to address.
Issues.
So the people have so many issues. If voluntary medical checks should be made available for people, you will be alarmed at the number of ailments that will be discovered.
People will not. I'm sure some will even refuse to take advantage of it.
Because
health insurance, for instance, and I'll just use your state. I remember when I worked with an organization that belongs to the state. I had to persuade people to go. These monies were being deducted from their salary. I had to persuade people to go and do the registration and take advantage of it, rather than pay out of pocket.
So when you have that kind of thing, and it's not that, it's just that they are not thinking along that line. What occupies their thought is how to feed their families,
To stay alive.
how to pay the bills. Nobody is going to pay it for them. So that is the truth. Before we came on live, we were talking about people not having money. And that's the reality on ground. You understand? Now, that's what goes on across board. And then you see people who are supposed to be governing us will be oppressing us with the way they throw figures at us, gallivant at parties and all manner of things. You'll be wondering what is going on.
They say it's a part of our culture, all this praying, the one they call spraying and all of that. The ostentation.
Yeah, I told you I watched a movie, an American movie some years back. And of course, there's a scenery in the movie that displays that they even gave it a name, spray dance. So that is in that movie. That's what they call
Spray
it.
dance.
Spray dance. So spray dance in the movie, and of course display what we used to do here, abusing the currency, and we call it spray dance. So that's the thing, and it's a form of oppressive move. And people will look at that. They look at their lives. I'm older than this guy. Is it better? I'm more educated than this guy. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why some of us, a friend of mine called me from the UK and was telling me that I watched the Davido wedding. I said, I don't watch content like that because I just don't want to see it.
Yeah.
That's what I replied to him. I said, look, I have so many other important things for me to go after in terms of information.
I remember
waste my time on content like that.
spray dance. I remember the particular wedding of the son of a child of a governor, a daughter, I think, some years back. And, the band is right in the street line across in front of them when the couple wanted to dance. And, of course, the couple won't touch the money being the children of governor. They were not touching the money. They were being sprayed, as we call it. And those who are spraying themselves there too, other governors, the wives, the senior, nobody was picking the money. So the entire floor was littered with hard currency. So all the security men, of top government, they had to form a semicircle to seal off, the stage.
What you just mentioned was what my friend wanted to point out to me. That nobody was picking the money. I said, well, the camera probably did not pick those who will pick the money. so that the money will not be left there.
It would not be left. It was not left there. And then the security agents were asked to bring Ghana must go bags. Ghana must go, not one, not two, not three. They were just packing and stuffing. And I remember there was an instruction to who to give them to. One was given to one guy on a wheelchair. It was, the kind of denominations now they will be spraying. And of course, hard currency. They didn't separate anything. They were just packing rapidly and stuffing. And then the instruction also added that the guy must be provided security to escort him out of the place. And, car driven and security provided to take him home. But you see, when you even give money like that, is it good for the person? If you give to 1,000 people, will you get, if that guy got millions that day, will you get people who will work positively with it?
They don't even want to give people who work positively.
I know some of those people with the disability, they were offered employment, they were offered, to be trained. They said no, because that one, begging, pays better. It's more lucrative, Abby. Let's take a look at the body of the story. Okay, another story here, apart from the two budgets we are running. Orosanye report, 4 months after, FG foot drags on merger of MDAs. And the story is that many Nigerians are curious as to why the government has not yet implemented the recommendations of the Orosanye report. There are rumors of political maneuvering and lobbying by some powerful individuals who stand to lose from the proposed merger of ministries, departments, and agencies of government. Others speculate that the government may face logistical and financial challenges in the mergers. However, the delay is causing anxiety among civil servants and citizens alike, who are eager to see a leaner and more efficient government. They say governments must provide clear and transparent communication on the progress of the mergers and address any concerns or obstacles hindering the implementation. Let me say my take. My take is that the president was out of the country when he issued, he came back from a trip. And I remember from that trip, he was in a North African country. It was from there that he vented his frustration, with the orders he gave, CNG, implementation of wage award, and the civil servants were saying it was not budgeted for, all of this. And then, as soon as the man came back, he said civil servants were frustrating his plans. And he came back and said, Orosanye report. I said, well, this was the president's way of getting back at the civil service. Now, the thing is not moving forward.
We should ask, there was a committee set up to work for 6 weeks and fashion out modalities. 6 weeks has become 4 months. We should ask the committee members, have they even sat once?
Yeah, we have not had anything
to deliberate on the matter. How come they have not been briefing the press? You understand, about you? And I'm sure State House correspondents would have been on their trails trying to get information from them, and they would have been avoiding them, because some people will say the press is not doing enough. When you ask people question and it says no comment, will you force word out of his mouth? that is the thing, and that's why most of this information are not there in the press. They are avoiding media contact, and that's why even Orosanye, what is it called, Obasi himself too, I'm sure he must have been specifically warned not to go to media. Steve Oros, what is his name? Jim Obasi.
Okay.
That
the financial EFI
man. So when you look at that, it tells a lot about the caliber of people we have at the helms of affairs, especially this current crop of that have constituted the new presidential cabal, headed by the man with the white beard. Look. When you look at all of that...
Oh, you mean the solid mineral guy?
No. The former speaker.
Oh, okay.
He's the new head of the presidential cabal.
Yes,
of course, he determines who gets what, when, and how in that place now.
Well.
And of course, he has the backing of the president. So those are the ones. I'm sure if the committee had actually worked, they will be the one that will be stepping down They are the ones that enjoy all the patronage is going to the presidency as we speak. And that's why we've been having rumors of slots and appointment being sold for millions of naira. And I wonder, having been number 4, you are no longer an ordinary person. What else do you want? Why would you allow such, even if you are not involved, but you are aware, why would you allow such to be going on under your watch? It points to the kind of person you are. So these are things that I am not comfortable with, and of course I will not keep quiet about them.
No, we don't need to keep quiet. Now, moving to the Punch newspaper. FG rolls out 1 trillion naira palliative massive construction project. Let's take the body of that story. We are inverting style today. President Bola Tinubu on Thursday gave all the state governors 7 days to provide concrete feedback on their plans to rev up food production in their respective states. Tinubu gave the directive at the 142nd National Economic Council meeting attended by state governors and some deputies at the State House of Abuja. He also announced a national construction and household support program which will see 100,000 families in each state getting 50,000 grants for 3 months, 155 billion to be disbursed for assorted foods, 440 billion for household grants. Even as 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory will get 10 billion allocations each for CNG buses. The 50,000 planned for 3.7 million families across the 36 states, and the FCT, the 10 billion allocation each for CNG buses in the 36 states and the FCT, as well as 155 billion spending on assorted foods are estimated to cost over 1 trillion. And the president says we must deliver on our targets at all levels. Please report back following your consultations and submit it to my office within 7 days. How much support do you need from me? And in what form? I'm prepared to provide it, but we must achieve results. There's nothing we're doing that is more important than producing high quality food for our people to consume. There's a report by the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics now that in the past 4 months, quality intake of nutrition has reduced by 32%. Will all of this stimulate the economy and make life better?
The resultant effect of that reduction in the quality of intake has been malaria epidemic.
Malaria epidemic.
Around me, this last week, more than 10 families were hit. I wouldn't know the statistics in other areas.
Is it the changing weather? You know,
that
the
is
weather?
what we attribute it to. It is the drop in immune system as a result of malnutrition. Let's just put it. Let's call it spade a spade. Weather has always been changing.
Yeah. Usually when weather changes, you know.
That is what we were made to believe. You understand? Weather changes everywhere. How come Europeans don't break down when weather changes? When they are moving from spring to summer, how come they do not break down, or from summer to autumn? So when we do all this mystical attribution to development, I don't really enjoy it. Now, to the money that is about to be wasted again.
Wasted?
Look,
they will get it.
Since last year, this government have chosen to throw money at issues of emergency, and it's not working. Rather than the prices of goods, it's a wrong approach. It's not going round one. It's making some people to be super rich overnight.
Super rich?
Over
50,000 in 3 months?
Not that. When they say 50,000 to elect household, you and I both know that if they say 12 million household, the household that will get the money will probably be like 7 million. The balance of 5 million will be shared in bulk by some people.
How does that happen? I mean, there's a cash register.
Well, we all remember the Beta Edu Gates Therapy, still fresh in our memories, and the Alima woman too, moving 40 billion within a couple of days.
That was
saying she was doing it for. You understand what I'm? These are how it happens. These are how it happens. They're paying project money into private account of an individual. That is how it happens. Budgeting air ticket for a state that has no airport. That is how it happens. Paperwork, they will present paperwork and all manner of memos will fly about. That is how it happens. And when you continue to use that approach, you're wasting our money, and you still come and say, we are short of fund. we have to borrow this, and some of this money are even borrowed money. Will you borrow for consumption as a government? Does that make any economic sense? Now, before some
What about
people
the
will
move
attack
for
me,
agri-production?
I'm not agric. You know,
The states are being urged to.
I don't want to go to the state level again. I've spoken enough about how unserious our governors are with agriculture. They are very, very much unserious about
Should it be about the state or local government?
It's about the states. Everything is about the states. The last time I checked, the governor is the landlord, according to the Land Use Act. So it determines who gets the land for agriculture or who gets the land for real estate. And if they choose to believe in real estate than agriculture, then most of the lands will go for real estate. And that is the problem with Oyo State in particular. Now, somebody was saying, we've been hearing so much noise about Fashola for the past 3 years. Now, whatever is going on there, if it is actually agriculture,
Not agriculture, agribusiness.
even if it is agribusiness,
Value chain.
where are those products? The last time I checked,
You need to attract people there.
attract people there. We are
Businesses.
saying, forget construction of an agro whatever estate. Deal with raw crops first. Let there be abundance of that.
Yeah, the off-takers have to be available.
And when you
Those
do
are
that,
going to be the off-takers.
just put 1 billion into that, you will see results within a couple of months. It's not something that can be hidden now. These crops will germinate, mature to gestation, and be harvested, and we will see them in the market. Not that you'll be talking, voting billion, brandishing one estate that is there, and we are not seeing anything to really prove.
Have you been there?
To really prove. I've been seeing all manner of images, and I've decided that, well, my next leave in August, I will visit that place if I'm allowed into the place, because
Why
you
not?
may get there and some people will say, no, you cannot come in, you have to get some clearance. I will be there. I've made up my mind because I'm tired of all this nonsense that I hear from people, especially on social media. You understand? I will be there, and I will go with my own cameras
You need to go
get
there, really.
because I want to disprove.
Enabling environment. I think that was what the state was providing. And after providing the enabling environment, and then you invite investors.
Simultaneously, when Fashola was being funded, Akufu was also on that list.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening in Akufu, but we hear so much noise about Fashola. And when you look at that, then you can see the unseriousness on the part of the government. We are talking about food production. Food.
But when you produce food, there's
Food
need for
production.
storage, proper storage, and processing,
Food-
value chain.
That is, who will I be the one to provide the storage? When we say food production, that is part of what we are talking about. And if you are going to say storage, you cannot concentrate storages on one place. If Fashola is the main thing, what happens to Shaki? Fashola is around the same. What happens to Shaki? What happens to Gbomosho area, Ibarapa? What happens to all those places? Ibadan, won't we need storage here? So these are things that we're talking about.
Because researchers are telling us persistently that there is a 35 to 40% loss in the process of harvesting. Post-harvest, yes, they call it post-harvest loss of 40%.
Now, that research is more than 10 years old.
Yeah.
Serious government, what would have? Pharaoh had a dream in the Bible. He was so marveled about it. He looked for interpreters, they got him a Joseph, who said, well, what you saw, the fat cattle that you saw in your dream, will be year of what? Surplus. And the slim cattle that came to swallow the fat cattle, that is famine coming to heat up the surplus. Then what do we do? Say, no problem. What you will do is that during the surplus, big, large storages, and keep surpluses there that will sustain the country for the period of 7 years that there will be famine. Okay, I think since you understand it better, I'll put you in charge. And that was what happened.
Vision,
You understand?
leadership.
When that research is supposed to be an early warning. This is a problem. What have you done about it? That is the question. All over the Europe, there are food banks. During COVID-19, what they simply did was to open those food banks, and they were giving people food items to households. Do we have any here?
We move. Minimum wage. Let each state negotiate what it can pay. That's coming from the governors. And let's take the body of that story and see what it's got to say. Okay. I've said governors from the southern part of Nigeria under the aegis of Southern Governors Forum yesterday called for the consideration of the ability of each state to pay the new minimum wage. The call came as the Nigerian Governors Forum said Wednesday night that it will continue to engage stakeholders to reach a mutually agreeable solution to the new minimum wage crisis. Although President Bola Tinubu was in an unusual manner present at the NEC meeting, often chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima, said no word about the new minimum wage. The Vice President said nothing either about it. This is coming from the southern, southern part of Nigeria. Okay, Southern Governors Forum. One, are we hearing something strident from the Southern governors? The Southwest governors adopted an anthem, and the Southern governors are, talking about minimum wage in unison. Are we saying
it is just all this is coming because they are not serious about the whole thing? Each of the states, the best thing that the federal can do is to, through the National Assembly, legislate to decentralize the wage.
Is there anything bad in national minimum wage?
You can have a national minimum wage, but don't make it compulsory for all states.
It's going to exclude.
Don't make it
there's
compulsory
provision
for
that
all
is being
states.
considered that we say, okay, now the national minimum wage is 30,000, but if you don't employ up to 25 or 30 people, you are excluded. Now they want to raise it. 200 people. If you employ 200 people and above, you have to pay.
Yes, if for you to have been able to employ 200 people, you have the capacity to pay, because the input of those 200 people will be
must generate
so
a quantum of
what you would need to pay. Now, but that takes us back to the previous issue,
which is
it is not the amount that the workers are getting that really matters, but the value. That's why they are asking for more this time around, is because the value of our currency is no longer there. And what they buy with that money, basically food. Now, if food will be cheap, and the only way food can be cheap is if it is cultivated in surplus. That's why I said it can be linked to the previous story, because I'm yet to learn that I wanted to mention some issue, especially as regards of your state. The research was done, I think IIT, about beans cultivation. And it was discovered that the Oyo State soil is actually one of the best in the country for beans cultivation. Do you know we do not have any single beans plantation in Oyo State? How long does it take beans to germinate? 3 months. Now, a Congo of beans is sold in the same Oyo for almost 5,000 naira now. What should have been in surplus and be very cheap? Why is it 5,000? In countries like Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast, there were bad harvests, and in Nigeria, where we had good harvest, people are now sending the beans to those areas because it's cheaper to convey it down to those routes than to bring it down south. Because one, security; two, security personnel will also mount roadblocks and collect all manner of money, the fuel that it will require, the trucks to bring these things, all this added up. Plus the middlemen that will say they have to get some amount of money as profit on this one. When you add everything up, definitely a Congo of beans will approach 5,000.
The grains, the corn we eat here, sometime about a fortnight ago, I was in Ekiti. And what we buy here for 150 a piece is sold for 200 around the road as we traveled. So what was responsible for that?
Ekiti is far from here.
Is it? I mean, when I say Ekiti, I mean of course, if you go to Akufo now, it will be, even Akufo here, it will be the same thing.
We don't have much of those kind of merchants in Ekiti. And in the same Ekiti, some community leaders went into the market. And in the same market spot, they saw a malam selling pepper, about 40 pieces for 200 naira, and the indigenes in the same market not far away selling the same 200 naira, just 5 pieces, and they were saying, where is it not from the same source? That we should not be doing this to ourselves. That's a factor.
So we're doing
but all
this
those things are possible. They are being fueled by the fact that we have insufficient. It is when it is not surplus.
Exactly.
No, these are largely perishable items.
Yeah.
So you can't
Hoard
see it
it.
in bar and begin to hoard it. You are going to waste the whole thing. So that's what I'm saying. Now, the federal government should do something about food production and not serious things. For now, why they are doing that?
Federal government food production again.
Yes, I'm saying something because they are the one rolling out the policy now and charging this.
That's not an non-exclusive list.
They are the one rolling out the policy and charging the state to cooperate and deliver. You understand? They want to give incentive to as many states as are requesting. So it's coming from them. They can add this to it because that is not going to be immediate. That one, before we see the results, will be at the minimum of 1 year. What will we do between now and that period? We can go all out, import these items, put them in some select places, maybe the local councils, and ask people to collect vouchers, something like rationing. You understand? That will go around. Everybody will have access to that. Not that, especially the money that they want to now be sending 50,000 to some people. You are wasting it.
We move. Plan to on sitting.
When you do that, workers would be thinking of accepting your 62,000 naira. But if you don't do something about all this, even if you give them 100,000, they will still tell you it's not enough. That is the issue on ground, and that's the direction that the federal government and even the states are not looking at.
I remember an artisan about, I think, early this year, February, thereabout, told me that the prices of every and anything could go up, but it must not negatively so impact food that the poor man will be groaning. He said that will lead to discontent. I got really scared. But let's move on. Plan to unseat Tinubu in 2027 will affect Nigeria's unity. Northern leaders should do away with their plan to remove President Bola Tinubu from. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and location, please.
No, additional anybody here.
Good morning. Go ahead with your
I just
contribution.
want to corroborate your analysis on the issue of agriculture, especially by the state. Now, you are talking of prevention losses and so on. That's true. But what is important is that the state governments are not up and doing. I worked in that ministry.
Of agri.
Yes, in those days. In 1984, in the days of UNADEP, or not Agricultural Development Program, the people were made to produce. And what government did at that time was to do what we call buyback.
Of
made them to produce, we buy back from them. They were producing enough of maize in Shaki, Aha, Tede, even in our here, Idere, everywhere. The state government was buying the thing back. And we have storage structures in Shaki, Tede, Awe, even in Kolapo Estate here, which is now an
residential estate.
There were 2 big warehouses in that place that could accommodate up to 3,000 metric tons of maize. All those things are gone. In 1986, when Babangida abrogated the commodity bourse, there is a grace board in Ofameta in Oyo Town.
Yes.
Along with Momosho.
Yeah.
The state government bought it over at the cost of certain amount then. There was processing machine. There were warehouses there. In fact, we had to build creeks in those places to accommodate for grains and everything. If the present day government could not install their own, why is it that they could not maintain those things so as to make food available? Do you know around 86, 87 and so on at Oluyole here, that local government alone, they were producing enough soya beans. And that was when you get to Bodija market at that time, you see soya milk, soya this, soya everything. Has the soil changed? Are the seed not available again? Like your analyst said, the state governments are not serious. Look, from the past, where do you find federal government farm? Where do you find federal government owned farms? It is the state that will produce and feed its people. Good luck to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's an experienced hand bringing us up to speed on some of these issues we are
And
confronted
I want to say,
with.
God will bless that caller.
Amen.
At least somebody would know that it is not about making noise over Fashola. It's about you can't hide in agriculture. You cannot. You can't.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
Well, good by God. Your name
God
and
bless
location,
you and
sir.
God bless Nigeria.
Amen.
I want to ask.
Your name,
what is
sir,
actually
and
wrong?
location.
Okay, I am Mr. Peters
All
from
right.
Ibadan.
All right. Go ahead.
Please, I want to ask, what is actually wrong with this government? People have shouted from the rooftop, stop attacking our problem with money. Your previous boss did the same thing for 8 years. We never got results. You are now taking money again to give to some people, and they pocket them. The people who are really in need of this thing, it will not get to them. The source of this thing is attack food, make food available. There is nothing wrong with the government even importing food to bring the cost down. So I don't just understand. But you normally experience this when the so-called democracy will give opportunity to somebody with 26% or vote to be your president. Finally, sir, the so-called appropriation, it is impeachable for any government official, either in the Senate, the president, or anything, to now go back to 2023 appropriation bill. It is not done, and I'm calling on constitutional lawyers. When they do it, please come out, take them to court. Good morning, Nigeria.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Yes, Northern leaders should do away with their plan to remove President Bola Tinubu from office in 2027. Such as a move will negatively affect the unity of Nigeria, says Shehu Sani, who represented Kaduna in the Kaduna Central in the Senate from 2015. This was as the Arewa community in southern Nigeria called on President Tinubu to intervene in the Kano matter. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. How wonderful.
Oh,
Wale is my name. So I'm calling from the Rangers.
from okay, go ahead.
From Rangers, sir.
Go ahead.
I just want to chip in some of the things. The area callers, they leave it on the board. But I need to put something to it to actually make us get more clear picture of the way all the things works. The Nigerian system is founded on big defeats, and look at this food production that's the only thing that's important to me today. I'm talking about this food crisis. Do you actually know that particular variety of cowpea beans that has high resistance to a lot of that has high level of adaptation? We call it only.
Yeah.
It is because of the resistance level our soil can give here. That's why they call it a brand. You will see a lot of literature works all over the world. They will talking about it a brand. That cowpea can do well here. The question is, why are we buying that same cowpea 5,000 naira? The question is, what are these so-called governors? What are they really doing for food on food production and food sufficiency. Sometimes in March, the farmers union, farmers association in Akufu, the farmers settlement in Akufu, protested. It was a peaceful protest. They said that most of their land are now being taken over by all these developers.
Developers in Akufu.
Yes, sir. Developers.
Wow.
That was the protest. Sometimes in March, it was even in Punch village. Punch. Sometimes in March. So this is where we found ourselves. The political farmers, they've started again building silos. Building silos in distant location. Distance location that is far away from where the food production will be happening. I pray for them first. Thank you very much for the.
Thank you, Wale. God bless you. Have a fruitful, wonderful weekend. And there is this issue of ramp, rural roads, 1,000 kilometers. I remember clearly speaking with Dr. Debo Akande just before COVID, and not much has been heard about that. You know, with World Bank assistance, maybe World Bank assistance, and then there's a counterpart funding. We haven't had. Only recently, again, did we hear something about it. Akufu then turned into, Akufu is not far from here. So, of course, when that new refurbished road, and it is just Ologun Eru and the rest of it, developing Ido, in fact, up to Ido. Ido now is just a few minutes from.
And excuse me, Akufu would have been very strategic.
That is Obafemi Awolowo's vision.
To have been prioritized ahead of Fashola.
Okay, why?
Thank you. You know the new rail track passes through there.
Yeah.
And rail transportation is cheaper.
So certainly.
So, and this is a rail track.
Will they be taking it what we do
it's
out of Oyo
going
State?
to guarantee markets. If we cannot consume everything we produce in Oyo,
if it's
we will
in
definitely
large
need to sell
enough quantities.
surplus. We will. Oyo is big. Oyo is as big as the 5 southeastern states. I kept saying it. This is fact. You understand what you're saying? Land is not the problem here.
The cultivation of it.
And that is why the government will use to now be building houses, giving to developers to build houses that will not be occupied. And some people who have gotten money from wherever will buy as many as they can, and they will not live there. Because the price they will put even to rent those building houses will be unaffordable for the common man.
Just like it happened in Abuja. Let's
Yes.
take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello? Yeah, good morning.
Oh, your name and location, sir.
I am Lawrence from UNET2.
Go ahead with your contribution.
You see, just like Comrade has said, agriculture is not all about creating compelling spectacles. So it's all about food production. I think what he said, and the government should run with and such stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a fruitful day. Yes, let's take a look at ASU. Government has opened up a line of communication with them, but they remain adamant that if one, this is the issue of 4 months outstanding, but have they forgotten that it's a no work, no pay situation? The 4 months they got from Tinubu was just to build bridges and encourage them, but now they are insisting. Is it about the welfare? Even as well got to a point that even the public has misunderstood ASU to be selfish and working in their own interest alone. But I know that is not the situation. That's the 2009 agreement that Buhari administration even said that they cannot implement. How can government, you take over assets and liabilities? How will government say they can no longer implement it? That agreement was reached on needs assessment basis.
As of 2009, Yar'Adua was the president.
Yeah.
Jonathan took, okay, let's assume he could not implement because of his health situation.
Yeah. No, some segments were implemented.
You understand? And Jonathan took over. Jonathan was there for about 5 years. What stopped him from?
He did implement
And
a
we
part
had
of it.
oil rose to $147
Dollars per barrel.
as at that time as it speaks. So there was money to do this thing. So whatever ASU is asking for now is a right. And of a truth, let's be sincere, and that will be the issue that they will have to be dealing with. The value of what they were demanding then had gone down. So they need to even reevaluate it and add the differential to it so that the government will know that they are really not serious. And any government that fails to fund critical sectors, we've been talking about one, food. Agriculture is part of food.
Education is absolutely critical.
Critical. Health is the third one. Now, these are the three things that will be at the bottom of our budget allocation. We'll put defense and
8% for education.
You understand?
Year, federal allocation.
So when you look at all of that, how would your DI rating improve? It will never. HDI means Human Development Index. It will never improve because these are things that will be used to measure it. Quality living is about having good food to eat, having access to quality health services, and we have brilliant health service provider in Nigeria. What is lacking is the enabling environment.
Yeah, but you see, can't we do something about health insurance, deepen it, expand it? And so when you have a pool of resources, a larger number of people can take access it.
Sincerely, we are doing very fine in the area of health insurance. We're not doing badly.
You mean in Oyo State?
Yes, we're not doing badly. It's just that
the coverage is not deep and wide enough.
Awareness too needs to be stepped up, and they need to employ people that will go into the communities. Hawk that.
I know the current Austria leadership is doing a yeoman's job.
Hawk the policy.
Yeah.
Take it to the communities, hawk it to them.
Political office holder.
That's the best way to expand.
Exactly, hawk it.
So that's the best way to do about it. But at the level at which we are now, we're not doing badly. And the issue is now that our health facilities need to be upgraded.
Oh, certainly. That pool
the
of
idea
resources.
Of JAPA is all based on that.
Yeah.
Brilliant doctors with nothing to work with.
Yeah.
He will want to move to an environment where he will be able to fulfill his potentials, get that job satisfaction that he desires.
And not just money.
And for HASU, the issue is that 4 months has not actually been paid everyone that's supposed to have it. And that is why others that have not been paid would not keep quiet. How can you pay my colleague and not pay me?
IPPIS is still in operation.
That is another issue.
And then TRCN is saying reverse decision to stop TRCN funding. And why is government funding TRCN? Should they take check-off pay? Don't teachers contribute?
I don't even understand.
They should contribute. That should be
the whole TRCN thing is about.
Regulatory body. Yeah.
That is nonsense.
How do you mean? There must be a regulatory body.
What ought to have been done is to look at the NUT and give that powers to
the
not
NUT.
that you set up one TRCN again. What is it?
Exactly.
We only have one NBE that has that regulatory ability and everything. We have one NME, NSC. Why will you invent a TRCN for teachers? That is where I have problem. I don't think that is where I'm deep-rooted in the education system.
MUT.
And from day one, I knew the whole TRCM idea is not going to work, especially the man that was heading.
But if we look at the NUT and ANCOPS, because I think it cuts across all levels of teaching, not just primary school.
No, the NUT is the umbrella body just for everybody. ANCOP is just for principals.
Now, NUT, the people that get to lead NUT,
when there is legislation to give them the right thing,
the right caliber
all
people.
those things will change. We have people within the teaching profession that can.
Because I'm saying it is usually the primary school teachers that lead NUT at the state level.
No, there are secondary school teachers too who have done so before and they've done brilliantly.
Okay, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, the radio man.
Mario, good morning to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, sir. God bless you, sir.
God bless you.
Well, what more can we say? We can only be complaining about the country. But when they wake up in America each morning, they will say, God bless America. Can we just use just a second to pray for the country, to pray for our leaders, that God will guide them to do the right thing, and that Nigeria will be a better place for us to live in, that God will give our leaders the wherewithal to lead us to the promised land. God bless Nigeria. God bless 94.3 FM. God bless the anchor. God bless the analyst. God bless our leaders.
And God bless Mario.
And God bless Mario.
Amen.
Amen
Thank
to
you.
all prayers.
Amen. Yes,
But do our leaders believe in God?
I don't know. They say Nigerians are religious.
But they are not godly.
Yeah, we're not good. Isn't that an interesting one? Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Biodu.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, analyst, sir.
Where have you been? Good morning.
I've been in Nigeria. I'm not Japan, sir. We are here together. On the food production or food security, this is what I was okay. Like the Pharaoh analogy you used, sir. Pharaoh listened to Joseph. That was why they avoided that. How will I put it?
Yes, scarcity.
The food, scarcity. He listened to, as you know, when you hear the word Pharaoh, you don't target with positive personality. But as wicked as we think Pharaoh was then, he listened to Joseph. Unfortunately, our governor, I'm sorry, I'll be specific, our governor Seyi Makinde did not listen to us. For the past 3 years, I've been shouting, 3 years, for the past 5 years, before the end of time of Ajimobi, when people are talking about Buhari, there's no food. I said the governors has the primary duty to produce food. This food production job is for the governors. But during the Seyi Makinde first term days, they were saying it's not the governor fault. Now we are into the big problem. And you know the problem I'm having now is that a bigger one is coming. I'm sorry to be straight.
Be straight.
Because, yes, we don't have storage. Do we have it? To have quenched the present
one of our
problem?
callers just pointed out storage facilities all over the state before that have been
We have
dismantled.
the facility, but we don't have the food storage.
Dismantled.
We don't have it. Secondly, we are not even preparing for the future.
Are we
Can
prepared
you
for
see the
today?
danger on ground, sir? We are not prepared. I'm not seeing the job of our governor going into real farming now. There is no solution on ground. So please, we need to hammer this thing to their hearing need. Maybe they will hear us better now. Now that the effect is on ground.
That is why we do what we do here.
I pray they hear us. Because some of their supporters will still come on here and say it's not the job of the governor. You are giving too much excuses for their failures. Our analyst said something, I'm sorry to debate a little bit. Which policy, because you talk about the federal government policy to have food production and things like that. I want to ask, sir, which policy help Baba Awolowo to focus on food and have the biggest building in Ibadan till tomorrow? Which policy was helping Baba Awolowo then? I want to hear that. Sorry,
Vision was helping Baba
Awolowo.
Awolowo.
Which has nothing to do with the federal government policy.
Well, we operated a very, very different government structure.
I understand you. Yeah. Even if you still operate that system now, this our lazy governor will not do something about it.
Thank you very much, Biodunu. Have a wonderful day. Let me take this one. Police constables, PSC's recruitment portal crashes. There was fear among successful candidates being recruited for... hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, you got 50 seconds.
Okay, I don't know any government, any level of government that is not very late. I don't know. All of them, they start from the head to the tongue. I know that there is no local government. Both the federal and state, they are all listening. You see, in a situation whereby you have a president that has distributed the subsidy money to the governors that are not ready to do anything, what are you expecting? There is nothing you can expect that what you are saying now. There must be a result for every step, every actions. What you are saying today as a result of the subsidy. Even the time of Buhari that the North are going to agriculture. Not that we don't do agriculture right here. So that means that we don't even engage in agriculture at all yet. The answer is no. But what are the results? Why we did not see any single result? Even that's why the fact that we are doing a little agriculture, what is the result? Corn, àgbàdo, we are making àgbàdo here. People planted àgbàdo here. That is the fact. I went so many places. I saw àgbàdo. People planted it. What is how much are they selling àgbàdo? The least you can buy is 200 naira. Why is it cost like that?
I bought one for 300 naira yesterday.
The more you look, the less.
There's you see. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you. Yes, there was fear among successful candidates being recruited into the constable cadre of the police force following a recent crash witnessed by the recruitment portal of the Nigeria Police. How? I mean, who designs a platform? You know the number of applicants, and you design a portal that will crash. What determines? I mean, why?
It's technology. Anything can happen to technology. It's not perfect.
It was learned that the portal containing the list of successful candidates for the recently concluded recruitment could not be accessed again by the anxious Nigerians who are waiting to join the force.
With that could be an act of sabotage.
With sinister motives.
Exactly. So, we know there has been controversy about
between the force and the commission. Yes, Mr. Badejoko Adesumbo, this valid tradition. Your final word.
I will use my final words to give a shout out to my brothers-in-laws. Today is their birthday.
Okay.
Isaiah and Michael. God bless them.
Amen.
And God bless Nigeria.
Amen. Yes, it's a wrap. On Almond Headliners, this Friday, the 28th day of June year 2024. My name is Ayodeji Ajishokwe. Bye for now.